MiHoYo, everybody knows them for better or for worse reasons. But no matter what you may think of them, you can't deny that their games have been massively popular over these past few years. Whether or not you've heard of MiHoYo, you have undoubtedly heard of their game Genshin Impact, the game with the funny anime girls and the not so funny fanbase. However, that's not what we're going to be talking about today. After checking out Zenless Zone Zero, I started to wonder what the two, technically three if you include Honkai Impact, but I completely forgot that game existed, so we're not going to talk about it, games are like. After years of not checking out any hoyoverse games due to how much hate they get, today we're going to be checking out the company's 3 biggest successes. This isn't going to be fun, is it? Starting off strong with Genshin.
Oh, brother!
Genshin Impact. Genshin was released on September 28th, 2020, and it is the first in the lineup of hoyoverse games. The game starts off with 2 siblings named Aether and Lumini, the 2 playable characters of the game. And after choosing which character you want, this spooky-looking lady turns our brother into fucking pixels. Holy shit! Anyway, after that, we're taken to the present day, and we're sitting on a beach with this annoying little shit named Paimon. The main story of the game is now clear to us, as we're on a journey to find our sibling. Alright, let's talk about the gameplay. The hoyoverse games all have fairly similar gameplay loops, and they all involve fighting of some sort. Out of the 3 games, I unfortunately feel like Genshin probably has the weakest of all the games when it comes to its gameplay. The game is set in a beautiful open world with varying environments and cities that you can check out and explore, and I feel that this is the game's biggest pro. I absolutely love open worlds. In fact, a lot of my favorite games are open worlds. But anyway, the reason why I feel the gameplay is so weak is that, at least from what I saw, it's fairly full of open fields, so just occasional enemies here and there to fight. Granted, I didn't play through the game very far, I only completed the prologue, but it just felt like a chore going from place to place. It just felt like a chore going through the open world to get to points where I needed to go, even with these teleporter things that are scattered across the map. While the environments are very beautiful, it's just boring having to walk around this open world with rarely anything happening. Even before playing, I heard this was a pretty common complaint with the game, so I expected it going in, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. One plus that I will give to Genshin about its open world is that the atmosphere in some areas is really nice, especially in the city area that you go to near the beginning of the game. I mean, just look at this.
The Knights of Favonia's
Shut up, Paimon. Similar to the combat, the upgrade systems in these games are all fairly similar, and I'm gonna admit I didn't really get too deep into the upgrades, so I don't really have the most detailed explanation on them. For Genshin, we have character ascension. Character ascension is the main form of character enhancement in the game, and it allows for the usual stuff like making your characters and weapons more powerful, you know, basic stuff like that. But you can also upgrade your characters by simply fighting enemies, but it's more efficient to use these experience books that you can buy or find or whatever. I didn't actually get to see these anywhere. Also, this is like completely unrelated to anything else here, but I really didn't know where else to put this. I was playing a mission and I just kinda accidentally killed Amber. Editing cheesy, roll the clip.
You got me.
Alright, pros and cons time. So starting off with the pros, the open world is by far my favorite part of the game. Like I said earlier, it has beautifully crafted environments and cities to go around and explore, all with unique characters to talk to and interact with. Next are well, characters. From the characters I saw, they all have fairly diverse personalities and abilities, and fairly good voice acting. Not very diverse skin tones though, but everything else is good when it comes to the characters. I also think this is a good time to talk about the voice acting. Something I think is good about all these games is the acting. While it is a bit iffy in some areas, Genshin's voice acting isn't bad by any means. Some of the characters are definitely more annoying than others, but let's not get into that. The last thing I want to touch on is the animation. All three of these games have some absolutely amazing animation work, and I feel it's shown off the best in the different cutscenes of the game. Smooth and fluent animation mixed with a good voice acting makes for some really amazing looking cutscenes and gameplay segments, and I really feel like this is another part of the game where it really shines. Like, seriously, the animation work in all of these games is really, really nice. But just like with every game, there is also cons, and the first con I feel Genshin has is, well, like I already stated before, the open world is an absolute pain to walk around in. I already explained why I didn't like before, so I won't go into it again. But just know that it's really big and beautiful, but kind of a hassle to walk around through. I also didn't think the combat was anything to write home about. While it's about what I expected, compared to Honkai and Zenless, the combat in Genshin is just kind of bland compared to its successors. Though I won't bash on it too much since I'm like 99% sure this was their first game. Hey, editing cheesy here again. I just realized now that this is definitely not MiHoYo's first game. It's actually like their fourth or fifth. But I knew absolutely jack shit about these games at the time, so I just assumed that. For any hardcore Genshin fans out there, I am very, very sorry. There was also microtransactions, but I'm not going to get into those since there's really nothing to talk about. I mean, all hoyoverse games have them. Alright, it's time for my final thoughts. Overall, Genshin isn't as terrible as I thought it would be. Due to how much shit talk the game has been getting over the years, I was expecting something much, much worse. However, even though the game isn't as terrible as I thought it would be, it's just not a game that I can see myself constantly playing. I unfortunately did think the game was pretty boring even with all the pros it has, and those just aren't enough to save the game. A lot of dialogue to sit and listen to, bland combat, and slightly clunky controls. Granted, I played on my phone, I don't know if it's better on console. But Genshin is decent, but most likely, I'm never gonna come back to it. Final score, 5 out of 10.